and said, the next person coming in the masjid is from the people of paradise. So again, they waited, looked at the door, and here came the same man from the Ansar walking in, did the same thing and joined them. The third day, same thing happened. One of the companions, Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, he decided to find out what is it that made this man declared by the Prophet Muhammad to be among the people of paradise. So he went to him and he said, listen, I had a problem with my family and I have to leave the house. So I need some place to stay for the next few nights. Can I stay with you? So the Ansari said, no problem, come to the home. So he stayed with him. At night, he woke up looking for the man to see, is he going to get up for tahajjud? Didn't get up. Before suhoor, is he going to get up and make suhoor for fasting? He didn't get up. He got up and he prayed Fajr like everybody else and so on. Next night, the same thing. He's waiting. Doesn't get up. Doesn't seem to be fasting. The third night after that, the next day he came to him, he said, listen, you know, I don't know what is happening here. What is it that has made you, when I don't see you doing anything special, among the people of paradise? He said, who said that? He said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you're going to be among the people of paradise. What is it that you're doing? He said, well, I'm not doing anything more than you see me do. He said, I'm just doing what you see me do here. Except, he said, that before I go to sleep at night, I make sure there is no hatred in my heart for any Muslim. Abdullah ibn Amr said, that's it. That is the thing that is so difficult for us. This is something that the Prophet ﷺ declared him to be among the people of paradise because his heart was free of hatred towards any Muslim. So it tells us this is a disease. This hatred is a disease which we need to remove from our heart. And of course, as I said, there are many diseases. In order to finish this topic, I will just make the many others under a general heading of forbidden desires. The forbidden desires. Whether they be forbidden sexual desires, and this is a whole category in and of itself. And this is why Islam prohibited mixing males and females together. When one of the female companions asked the Prophet ﷺ about the brother-in-law, she's at home, is it okay for her brother-in-law to come into the house, to live with them, the brother-in-law, for her to be alone with the brother-in-law? This is her husband's brother. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Alhamu al-maut. Alhamu al-maut. The brother-in-law, the relative, because the brother-in-law, it includes the mother-in-law as well as uncles who are the husbands of your mother or father's sister, right? The males, we may call them in English, we call them uncle, but in Arabic they're not uncle. They're only the husband of your aunt, right? But people treat them as if they were the brother of your father or your brother of your mother, who cannot marry into, you have, this is from what they call the maharim, right? So the Prophet ﷺ said, Alhamu, these close relations, who are not true blood relations, that prevent them from marrying your wife or your daughter or your sister, whatever, these kind of things. He said, such are death. Alhamu al-maut. Such are death. And I'm sure, for societies where this is taken lightly, the consequence is known. In the Emirates where I was, I remember a case about 3 years ago, when a man went, Palestinian, or Jordanian, he went to the doctor to check about his sperm count. Because he had 3 children, but he didn't have any children for a stretch of time, so he went to check on his sperm count. When the doctor checked his sperm count, he said, you cannot have children The man said, but I have 3 children. He said, no, you cannot have children. So he had a problem. So he went home and he put some cameras in the house to wait to see, maybe somebody is sneaking in. After a few weeks, nothing. Month goes by, nothing. The next month, he came home from work early one day. Came home, went home, and he heard somebody in the bedroom with his wife. So he tried to open the door was locked. He banged on the door, finally kicked in the door. Who was in there with his wife? His brother. He had a heart attack. The brother fled. This was the father of his children. Al-Hamu al-Maut. So Islam prohibits mixing to protect Muslims from forbidden desires. Forbidden desires. Also, of course, being alone with the opposite sex. There's mixing on one hand and being alone with them on the other hand. And of course, this includes all of the modern versions, internet chats, the messenger, where people get on with these conversations with women and women with men who are not from their maharim. Nobody is checking it, so they're alone. All of this we need to clear ourselves of before going into Ramadan. The internet and all the things which would normally distract us, we should minimize. Ramadan, television, shut it down. Shut it down. Television is among the most corrupting influences in our lives today, in our lives and in our children's lives. Television. Its evil far outweighs its benefits. If one doesn't have control of it, meaning you can ensure that the only programs that are being watched on it are programs which are pleasing to Allah. You could invite Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to sit beside you and watch the program. If you couldn't, then you know you shouldn't be using it. It's only an instrument, can be used for good or can be used for evil. If you cannot ensure that it's being used for good, then you have to get rid of it. For your own sake and for the sake of your family. To protect them. Because you will be held responsible. كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ. Each and every one of you is like a shepherd responsible for his flock. You will be asked. So for Ramadan, I know some people say, well, we're so used to it, everybody is there. You're hooked. No. Try giving it up for Ramadan, and it will make a major difference in your lives. Of course, the other things which need to be removed are the other sins, which are sins of the tongues and the limbs, backbiting, slander, and all these other things about which Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had said, Allah has no reward for one who doesn't give up backbiting, slander during Ramadan fast. There's no reward. He also said, perhaps a person will fast, and the only thing he gets from the fast is hunger and thirst. And perhaps he will stay up praying all the nights of Ramadan, and the only thing he will feel from it is tiredness. So after we have purified ourselves,